The first step to starting my Amazon business was hiring a professional game illustrator for the package and board game design. That was about $3,000 for this game. Then we did a Kickstarter campaign, and the high quality video and ads and such cost me about $7,000. An LLC was less than $100 to form my business in South Dakota, and the trademark was about $2,500. Barcodes from GS1 were about $180, and then the Amazon seller fee was around $40. Then I had to find my manufacturer. I had a publisher suggest one to me. The samples for that were about $250 to make sure that I had all the cards and components. It was about $4,600 for the full print run. Then about $1,800 to get that shipped back to a US Amazon warehouse. And then just a few other fees before I could start selling it on Amazon. First, I'm going to share with you my honest numbers from my Amazon FBA business, including how much it cost me to start the business, how much I made selling my product on Amazon, and I'm even going to share with you what my product is, which is something most people don't do. But remember, even though this business made over $6,200 in revenue in the last year, that is not profit. The second thing I'm going to share is how I did it, because even though I did make a really big mistake that I'll share with you later, just this one board game of over 15 that we've launched on Amazon still made over $6,200 in sales in just its first year, which is something that I am really proud of. And the most important part of the video is right at the end, because I'm going to share with you a big mistake I made that cost me over $1,500, and it's a very common mistake that Amazon sellers make. So if you're thinking about selling on Amazon, stay until the end of the video to avoid making this mistake yourself. Now let me share with you how much it cost me to start my Amazon business, as well as step-by-step how I created it. My name is Brian. I grew up playing board games and video games with my best friend. We were inspired to make games ourselves, but we also needed to make a living. So I wound up trapped in a job as a software engineer. I spent my life making other people's dreams come true in the corporate world. Writing code all day was crushing my creativity, really. I needed to be my own boss and work at a creative job that feeds my soul. So after all those years of playing games, I partnered with my best friend. We launched our own company, Overworld Games, which eventually became Pull the Pin Games. We tried to make it work by building digital games first, but they kept growing obsolete with new technology, new resolutions for phones or video cards. So it was a little devastating, and we really just wanted to focus on what we loved most, which was creating the game itself, not as much supporting it. So that's why we switched to making board games. We had a light bulb moment. Board games don't ever need tech updates. So we transitioned to making physical games for a couple thousand units, and now we just keep making new products. Now make sure to smash that like button, because I am going to share with you what my product is and step-by-step how I started selling on Amazon. The first step is to do free product research. The company I started with my business partners called Pull the Pin Games. We work on fun, surprising party games. Because we've already launched 13 other successful Kickstarter campaigns, we knew this game could be another success. So we created the idea for Good Cop, Bad Cop, the 4th edition of it, and a new expansion. And that was free. We threw ideas for the theme and mechanics of the game out on Kickstarter. We developed emotional moments for the game and the players and tried to change the design to support those explosive moments. We did spend about $95 on MailerLite, Azure for the website, the Adobe suite to help create images for it. You should use a research program to guarantee your product will be a success on Amazon. Helium 10 is a research tool that can help you find your product idea. The key to making money on Amazon is to understand that Amazon is a search engine, and people go to Amazon to search for things that they want to buy. The search terms people type in Amazon are called keywords. Helium 10 can show you how popular specific keywords are, so you're able to figure out how much customer demand there is for your product. And if you want to unlock all the premium features to help find your new product, there's a link in the description with a discount code for Helium 10. It then cost me about $3,000. The actual package and game illustrations, we hired illustrators for each game. We find similar games, talk to artists directly about doing art for one of our games that we think they do a really good job with. To get your logo and packaging designed, or even if you're designing your own board game, you can use Fiverr, Upwork, or 99 Designs. The way 99 Designs works is you put out your requirements, and then you get a whole bunch of artists who will create proposals of what you're asking for, and you can choose the one that works best for you. We then had to spend about $250 to get samples of the game made so that I can make sure that everything looks right to me. Then I can also bring that out to design groups, board game groups, and have them tell me if they think that the components are right, the graphic design makes it easy to learn, and that kind of thing to perfect it. Some of those samples I will send to influencers. They will share it with their audiences, so that helps build awareness for an upcoming Kickstarter campaign, because the most important thing about Kickstarter is the first couple days. So you want as big of a burst of backers in those first couple days, and that comes largely, or it can come from influencers in their audiences. And then I'll put polls up on Facebook or Discord, Instagram, and then they can answer polls about decisions that we're struggling with so that they can also feel more invested and help us make the right decision. In the past on Kickstarter, you didn't have to have a professional video, but for board games, now you really do. So we spent about $1,300 on making one for the campaign for this game, and then spent about $4,700 on ads and other ways to build awareness. The game was fully funded and raised over $14,000, but then Kickstarter and other fees take about 10%, and I'll reveal exactly how much we made in profit in a minute. I then saved money by doing all the photos of the game myself. Another option is to hire influencers, maybe on Instagram, who you can send a copy of the game to them. They'll take some really high quality photos and then share it with their audience. So that's an option. So there's this company called FBA Creatives that will do a lot of that hard work for you. They can build your entire listing, product description, bullet points, your product images, logo, branding, and even your packaging if you'd like. There's a link down below if you want to check them out. I spent less than $100 to get the LLC for our first product. We built the company starting in South Dakota, and so it's pretty cheap there compared to California, but it is different in each state. It costs $800 a year to have an LLC in Los Angeles. An LLC will cost you around $200 if you do it from wyregisteredagent.net. And I recommend getting an LLC of some kind for your business. If you get sued, it's a layer of protection for you, so you can lose your business assets, but not your personal assets. You could also get a DBA for $99 from LegalZoom. DBA is doing business as, so it's the business name that you use to operate under for tax purposes. For example, we're Overworld Games LLC, but we have a DBA, doing business as Pull the Pin Games, because we did all the registration under Overworld Games, and then now we sell under Pull the Pin Games. It was a branding change that we did quite a few years ago. The DBA won't offer you any legal protection if you get sued. My next cost was about $2,500 for a trademark for Good Cop, Bad Cop. In the board game industry, you may not need a trademark. If you do a lot of selling on Amazon, then you'd want to get that so that if somebody tries to counterfeit you or sell your game that you don't want them to on Amazon, then you can register the brand on Amazon and actually get their listings taken down. Since this trademark business was much more expensive than I thought it would be, you can check out Travis's YouTube video. He has an in-depth tutorial that explains how to get your business set up a lot cheaper if you want to do it yourself. So check that out. There should be a link below in the description. So the full print run that we did at a manufacturer in China cost about $4,600. So that was for 2,100 units of Good Cop, Bad Cop. We only sold a few hundred on Kickstarter, but nowhere near 2,100, so the rest of them we can sell either direct through our website, give it to consolidators or distributors in the board game industry, or sell it on Amazon. The manufacturer that I found in China was a recommendation from a fellow publisher. They had success with them in the past, and I actually tried them a couple games ago. I also had success, so I have kept using them. So if you're looking to find a manufacturer for your own products, there's a few different ways to do it. In the board game industry, I would say the best thing is to talk to other publishers, because there are a lot of horror stories too about a manufacturer who was not very organized, who did not make a product to spec. The quality was much lower. There's issue with alignment on cards. There's a lot of risks. For other products or for accessories for board games, you can use Alibaba.com. They have a whole bunch of manufacturers there. The manufacturers are all over the world: Asia, Europe, India. You can also use thomasnet.com to find manufacturers exclusively in the US. You can also just Google it for a product you want and say board game manufacturer. So at this point, I have spent about $16,500 before the product even arrived. So that does make me a little nervous. I do know from Travis's content, he says 43% of new sellers make over $100,000 a year, and I knew that this was an opportunity that was too good to miss. Travis actually has a lot of great videos teaching Amazon FBA, including a free 10-hour Amazon FBA course that's linked down below. That's why I wanted to share my story here on this channel. But there are still some more costs I had, and then I'll get into my first month sales. My next cost was about $1,800, and that's to get the games shipped from China into an Amazon warehouse. From there, I can start selling on Amazon. I often use other fulfillment centers all over the world. Those are to ship to the Kickstarter backers. But the big cost is ocean freight to an Amazon warehouse in the US. So we used that ocean freight because it was a couple pallets worth of products. The prices on freight shipping changed quite a bit month by month and changed a lot during the pandemic. So you never know exactly how much it's going to cost until you actually get it scheduled. But you can also ship via air. It's way faster, but if you ship by ocean freight, it's a lot cheaper, but it will take a good 6 weeks to arrive from China to the US. When I was first starting out, I bought my barcodes from buyabarcode.com. And they are fine. But when I first started selling on Amazon, they charged me to relabel each of my units because that wasn't a GS1 barcode. So for this product, I actually did go with the GS1 barcodes, and I would recommend that now. It was about $180 for 6 UPC codes. If you go to Amazon, get GS1 barcodes for sure. So UPC, it stands for Universal Product Code. It's the barcode that you'd find on any product that you see at the grocery store or retail store. It's the thing that they scan at checkout. So you can just buy one barcode for $30 if that's all you need. To initially get started on Amazon, it did cost me about $40. So that's the account setup fee. But then I can start listing my products, and I have access to Amazon Seller Central that lets me get reports on current inventory levels and sales, profits, and lets me edit my items as well. You don't have to pay $40 to sell on Amazon because there's 2 types of accounts. One is a professional seller account. Another is an individual seller account. So the pro account costs about $40. The individual one is free, but you do pay $1 per item sold. So it just depends on how much you're selling. Since my goal is to make as much money from selling on Amazon as possible, I chose to sign up for professional. You just need to sell 40 units per month to make up for it. So I'm going to share now how much I made in my first month in just a minute. But reminder, so far now in this kind of journey, I've spent about $18,500 so far in launching this product. Although this was a lot, we did make about $12,000 from the Kickstarter campaign, and that we can feed into some of the other costs that we have. So our startup costs are brought down to about $6,500 or so. So at this point now, just launching our product on Amazon, we're still a little bit in the hole from a profit perspective, but it's still exciting to launch the game, to get it out there, to start getting some positive feedback from the backers. I know I've heard Travis say that there are over 230 million customers in the US alone, and 56% of them start their product search on Amazon. So I knew that there were a lot of people out there searching for fun party games, and I want them to see good cop, bad cop when they do their searches on Amazon. We made almost $600 on our first month selling on Amazon. So it's important that you know this was revenue, not profits. We sold 24 units and it cost us $73 to produce them. There are a lot of fees that you need to pay when you're selling on Amazon. So we paid about $89 for our Amazon referral fee. So that's a 15% fee that you have to pay for the opportunity to sell on the Amazon platform. The second fee cost us $106. That's for the Amazon FBA pick and pack fee. FBA stands for Fulfillment by Amazon, which means Amazon will pick, pack, and ship your product to your customers, so you don't have to do all that work yourself. But for our first month selling on Amazon, we made $330 in profit, so it feels great to see that coming through without really any work from us. We made $650 in the second month selling on Amazon. It was about $82 to make 27 units and $101 for our 15% Amazon referral fee, plus $119 on our Amazon FBA. And in the second month selling on Amazon, we made just over $370 in profit. So that was great. Great to see more profit coming in, slowly building. Because the 4th edition Kickstarter was fully funded, it boosted sales for us at this point too. Something we should have paid more attention to was PPC. So PPC is pay per click, where you can pay to have your listing at the top of search results, and you pay a small fee for every time someone clicks on your listing. If you want to learn more about harnessing the Amazon PPC, you can check out the Amazon FBA course, the Passion Product Formula, which guides you through every single step in this process. You can check out the link in the description below. Going into March, we were a little bit nervous because the Kickstarter campaign had ended, and that means that any additional advertising and raising awareness for the product ended as well. That's just how we do our business. We put our advertising, marketing efforts and money into the Kickstarter campaign, and then we rely on more word of mouth for the Amazon sales that come after it. So March was the lowest month yet. We made a little over $470 in revenue. We spent $57 to produce the 19 units that we sold, $71 for the 15% Amazon referral fee, and then $84 for the Amazon FBA fee. So the third month, we ended up making just over $260 in profit. So it was a little bit difficult to see that our profit dropped a little bit in this month, even if we did anticipate it. So we made the choice to go to a convention called Dice Tower West. This is a board game convention. We got a booth there and exhibited, and we demoed this game a lot. This helped raise awareness for Good Cop, Bad Cop, and led to more sales as well. In month 4, we made $574 in revenue. Then after expenses, that came out to about $300 in profit. In month 5, we made $450, and that became about $250 in profit. Then in month 6, it was about $550 in sales. Then after expenses, that became about $300. In month 7, we made just over $410. After expenses, that was about $215 in profit. So all of these months stayed around the same because we didn't do much advertising. We instead focused on creating the next game that will come after this version of Good Cop, Bad Cop. We trusted that the game was selling and that we were making consistent profit from it. We're okay with that. We're okay with putting money into a big Kickstarter campaign, getting a lot of sales up front for that, and then relying on that word of mouth for the Amazon sales that come afterwards. That's kind of our business model, and it works well for us. Now we're into month 8. In that month, we made about $350 in revenue and then $190 in profit. In month 9, it was $600 and then $330 in profit. Then in month 10, we made $625, and after expenses, that came out to about $337 in profit. So it was good to see a steady increase because in July, we exhibited at a demo table at San Diego Comic-Con. People would demo the game. We gave them a little card that had a QR code on it and then a discount code where they could get $5 off the purchase if they wanted to do it through our website or on Amazon. And that worked fine. We got a good amount of sales and just awareness for the product there. But next time, if we were to do it again, I would probably get a booth, because demo tables, you can't actually sell the game, the product there, but if you get an actual booth, it costs more money up front, but you can sell the game there. But the good news is that in September and October, Kickstarter backers were getting their games. So that means that they will play it with their friends, they will bring it to different board game events. We have a lot of confidence in the game. We know people love it. We know people who play the game will buy it afterwards. So a big goal for us is to just get the game to more tables so that we can get more sales that way. November was our biggest month yet. We made almost $980 in that month. Taking out expenses, that ends up with about $470 in profit. Going into November and December, we knew we had more inventory coming for the next version of Good Cop, Bad Cop, so we lowered the price on the previous version, and that led to more sales, especially around Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So that worked really well to clear out the inventory that we had and make room for the new version that's coming soon. So in these 11 months selling on Amazon, we made just over $6,280 in revenue. But remember, revenue is not profit. After you take out all the expenses, we were left with about $3,300 in profit. So not bad, especially when you think of this as just one portion of the profit that we get from the business, the Amazon portion, but we also get money through direct sales on our website, and then a lot more money on Kickstarter, and then the sales after Kickstarter in the Pledge Manager. But it was great to see it resonating with players, and like I said, when people play this game, they want to buy a copy. They have so much fun, they want to buy a copy. So for every game that gets played, we assume there's a good chance that one person is going to want to buy it afterwards, especially when it plays up to 8 players. But we could have earned a lot more if we avoided some of these mistakes. So some of these mistakes happened in these 11 months, and then also they're also kind of general mistakes that have happened in the past that I think is good for you to know about as a product owner, so you can hopefully avoid them in the future. So our first big mistake, it's a little unique to the board game business and kind of the path that we took, but it easily could have cost me over $10,000. I don't know the exact dollar amount, but I think you can learn from it as more of a product owner. The game is about cops, and in a past campaign, we allowed backers of our campaign to pay extra to have their likeness drawn by our illustrator into the cards. So you can actually be on a card in Good Cop, Bad Cop. So that sounds good, and it is, and people like that. However, what we didn't anticipate was that most of the people who chose that were white men. All of the cops, we have 24 cops in the game, and we had most of them being those white men. So as a publisher, you want more diversity, and you want people to, no matter who they are, what they look like, gender, race, we want them to feel like they are in the game and they are part of it, and it appeals to them. We were kind of stuck because we had sold all of these without really knowing. We just know their Kickstarter handle. We don't know what they look like until they start sending us pictures to get our illustrator working on it after the campaign. So we didn't really know what kind of mess we got ourselves into, but we really had no choice, especially when there is a lot of news that is, bringing to light the racial inequity in police violence. This is not a good look for us, especially in these times. So this was a big mistake. Again, I don't know how much it cost us exactly, but it was not good for our brand. It wasn't good for the experience that a lot of people have playing our game, so this was a mistake. Another mistake that I made, it cost over $1,500. What happened was I tried to do this shipment just before the holiday season. I tried to ship all of our games from our manufacturer to the Amazon warehouse. Problem is that I first shipped them to a fulfillment center in China that I was using. All of our games were shipped to this fulfillment center in China that I was only using to fulfill to kind of the Asia Pacific region of our backers for Kickstarter. So it was a very small amount. And then the rest of them I had planned to go from that fulfillment center to an Amazon warehouse. But that was a huge mistake because the fulfillment center is used to sending single shipments or, a few products to people in different parts of the world. But they are not good at preparing pallets of games to be shipped via ocean freight to another country. And they also don't want to take responsibility, legal responsibility for those products because they didn't make them. Normally the manufacturer would do that. Eventually, it finally got to where it was supposed to go, to an Amazon warehouse in Pennsylvania. The logistics company, trucking company, was ready to deliver it. They were trying to make an appointment and it didn't work. And that was because after 90 days, Amazon will automatically close a shipment that you make. And so I created that shipment. We had all that back and forth between the manufacturer and the fulfillment center. Then it took 6 weeks on the boat. By the time it actually got into the US and then got into Pennsylvania, it had hit that 90-day mark. I had to create a whole new shipment for this, pretending like it was coming from China again. The problem is the warehouse in Pennsylvania was full. They wouldn't let me create the shipment and have it be delivered there. It was one in North Carolina. I had to have all the pallets of games relabeled, every box on the pallets and then the pallets themselves relabeled with this new shipment information, and then have it go from Pennsylvania up to North Carolina and finally have it delivered there. So to sum up this mistake, there's 3 things I think you can take from it. 1, don't send to a fulfillment center from your manufacturer. If you're gonna do ocean freight, go from your source should be the manufacturer. Have your logistics provider or the manufacturer or Amazon, whoever you want to do it, have them go from that source of being the manufacturer, not a fulfillment center. Another thing is it closes after 90 days. So when you create that shipment in Amazon, the clock starts. Make sure to create your shipment once your products are ready to go on pallets, because you're going to have the manufacturer put the Amazon labels on each box and then on each pallet. And then also just make sure that double check, triple check that your address is correct, that you've got all the labels, and they've put all the labels on all the boxes and they put all the labels on the pallets, because otherwise at some point in the process, likely when they're trying to deliver it to Amazon, you're going to run into more delays, probably costs as well. So it's worth doing those extra checks. And my last mistake was my most expensive mistake. This one cost me a good $50,000. On Kickstarter, since we are primarily a Kickstarter company, there have been a lot of, at least they look like they're successful campaigns, who use an IP or an intellectual property. So they might say, could be X-Men or, Star Wars. You can buy the rights to use some popular brand and put it on your product. So in this case, we did the Total Recall movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. So I paid a lot of money up front to be able to use that. And I launched a Kickstarter campaign. I made a bunch of mistakes there. One, it was extra to have Arnold Schwarzenegger's likeness in the game. I didn't pay extra to have that. But that was important. I don't know if it would have been worth it, but not having his likeness in the game hurt our marketing efforts for that game. Then also, I didn't have any experience activating a fan base of that Total Recall movie. I got to go find these people and gather them and get them ready to back our campaign when it launches. And I had to have a pretty high funding goal because of the money I had to pay up front to buy the license to have this. So ultimately, that campaign was not successful. When you do an IP game, you're under a lot of other contractual obligations, like how long you can actually have the license for a game. So this one, in order for us to try to put everything back together, learn from those mistakes and try to replan out a game, relaunch the game, we wouldn't have been able to do it by the time that the contract expired. Yeah, we maybe could have, extended it, but in the end, an IP sounds great, but it actually has a whole bunch of costs and other restrictions that are placed upon you. I would never do it again. I've done 3 or 4 games now with an intellectual property attached to them, but I will never do another one. Once you build one product on Amazon that's successful, it's much easier to replicate. So in this time frame, we made over $6,000, and that's with just the one SKU that we didn't advertise for. On top of that, we have other revenue sources like Kickstarter or directly from our website, but this is a really nice additional source of revenue that, again, we can spend our marketing dollars on the Kickstarter campaign and creating that initial product, and then just, collecting on that with Amazon sales, because as soon as somebody finishes playing a game, oftentimes they'll pull out their phone. If they liked it, they're going to go search for the game on Google or Amazon directly to try to buy it. So that's kind of how we use Amazon in our business. Joining Travis' Amazon FBA program, the Passion Product Formula, it could change your life. You can use his knowledge, his expertise with the 100 step-by-step tutorials, the one-on-one coaching, the exclusive Q&As that he does. So there's a link in the description. You can check that out. But if you aren't ready for that, he also has a completely free 10-hour Amazon FBA course that you can get by clicking right here.